this interview. It has begun.
Well, Alan Lee, thank you for joining the show, man. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm good. I'm I'm good. This is a weird time because it's launch. It's the second launch. So,
Yeah, early access and now the real thing. How are you feeling, man? Is this new to you? I know you've been in some big projects before, but
have I?
no, but animes and things like that. But now
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a big AAA video game, massive franchise. Were you nervous? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know how to take it when I got the audition, when I got the callback, when I booked the character, when I was recording, when I saw my face on the trailer, like all the way up to like now. I was just like, right, because like nothing's happened yet, right? And you don't know, like if it's your first time, you just don't know what to expect. And so I'm still like I'm still waiting for it to like fully hit me, but it's kind of hitting me. It's got me a little nervous. So yeah.
I want to hear your story. Now I know it personally, but I want everyone to hear it. You did many jobs before, pizza delivery, Lyft driver, this and that. Give us the rundown how we landed here.
Ooh, okay. So how far back do people usually start these stories?
Well, look, I know your brother got you into it, right? That's where the story
kind of. Okay, so story is when I was a kid, my older brother, who's I'm not going to say how old he is, but he's older than me. He finished college and like it would be rude. But he finished college and like he moved back home with us back in the Bay Area, and we were he'd started a job and all that sort of stuff, and so it was super cool to have my brother back home. But one day he rented the movie Office
Space. Yeah. Which I only watched for the first time the other day.
Really?
Enough.
What'd you think?
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Yeah. Thought it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up though, and being a doe-eyed, like little kid, I watched it and like I didn't get a lot of the, like the adult humor flew over my head, but
yeah,
I was horrified. I was like terrified because
you thought it was a horror film.
Well, no, because I thought it was real. Like I couldn't tell where like real life ended and
well,
like,
it is real for some, isn't it?
Satire began. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Because I saw my brother come in, like, and he's working this job and he's going to, like he's going to this startup tech company. I don't remember. Like it was a dead end job for him. It was not what he studied for. It had nothing to do with anything that he like was trying to accomplish at the time, and it was just soul sucking. And I remember just being mortified. Like it shook me to my core, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta find out like what I want to do in life and start heading towards that direction. I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. But
you were smart for a 10-year-old. I can't say I was doing that.
Yeah. And my brother like we talk about this now, and he's like, oh, so like like I was a loser, and I was like, no, you were at rock bottom, but you weren't a loser to me, you were a hero. And I just want to put that out there. Like my brother's my hero to me, and
oh, that's nice, man.
Yeah, and so like I was like, dude, I can't follow the path he's following. I can't just go through high school, finish college, and then find myself at like a dead-end job and be trapped there until I die. And so I started looking for what I want to do, and throughout the years up until like the end of high school, I would say like I failed at finding something, but I tried a lot of stuff, and I like dabbled in things that I thought I was interested in, including wriing, including
video game design.
Video game
one of them?
Design. Yeah. Video game design. Wow, you've done your research. But yeah, no, but I was at my wit's end, and it was about to be my senior year, and I talked to my cousin, who's a film editor in Hollywood, and I talked to him, and I was like, what should I do? Like, where should I go from here? Like, I've done all these things, and I either burn out or I lose interest, or like it's
so acting was never in your mind at this point.
Really. No. It's weird. I had done acting. I mean, like, you're in school and like they have you do plays, they have you do like little skits, and I had a knack for that. And I loved it, but like I didn't consider it. I was like, it's not a job. And like having Asian parents, spoiler, I'm Asian. Like they're like, why don't you become a dentist? If you want to get like creative, like be a dentist so you can, like mold teeth and help people out and make lots of money at it. And I was like, they have the highest rate of like depression and suicide, right? Of like any profession or something like that.
Yeah.
But I talked to my cousin, and my cousin's like, okay, well, what if you like wrote down all the things that you tried and find the common thread throughout all of it, and
that's interesting.
Figure out something from there. And I thought about it, and I was like, it dawned on me that like it all spawned from like childhood memories of like watching TV and watching cartoons and playing video games, and like the nostalgic pull that it has from that like that era. It was so strong for me that I wanted to do something creative. And so I was like, well, what's the most fun you had as a kid? And it was like, oh, playing pretend, duh. Like, so why don't we do that? Why don't we try, we as in me and myself and I, why don't I just do acting? Why don't I be the character? And so I was fortunate enough, because I was in the Bay Area, I was 45 minutes away from a voiceover conservatory, which I don't know how many of those are in the nation or in the world, but
what is that?
One. It's where you learn voiceover, like for narration, commercials, character work. And so I went there, and like I took an intro class, and the first time I was there, I stood in front of the mic, and they're like, all right, read a tag. And like the moment I did it, I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to start my journey now.
At that moment,
that very moment, I stood in front of the podium. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I think I was like 16, 17 when I started. And I went to community college because I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. And eventually, like, I had a hard-ass teacher for one of the classes, and his class only happens once every year. And I miswrote like my final schedule, like my final exam schedule. But the final exam was like, just turn in your paper. But I missed it by about an hour because I miswrote it for like a different day. And when I came in, he was like, you're too late. You failed. And like, I was like, are you kidding me? What? Like,
were you pissed?
I was flabbergasted. I was pissed. I was like, oh shit, how do I tell my mom? How do I hide this from my mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what ended up happening was that it turned out to be like the best day of my life, because at that time I was an English major, because I was thinking, oh, like I'll do something at like a law firm and do paperwork there as like a day job, and be a writer and all that sort of stuff. But I told my mom I was going to take another year because I wanted to finish voiceover training, which was true. It's just like, it just serendipitously happened that I failed this class.
Yeah, right.
And I had to wait a full year to take that class again. And so when I did it, I like got there early. I gripped my teeth. I was like, this is the final lap of my marathon. Just hold still. Don't kill him, Alan. And, like, he lectured us for like 3 hours. He took the whole time for that finals period to just talk to us. And I don't remember exactly what he said throughout the entirety of it, but there was something that changed my life, which was at the end of it, he's like, and you have to love English and you have to be passionate about English, because this is not anything you can fall back on. And the moment he said that, like, the stained glass behind me just shattered, because that's what I was doing. I was falling back on English. And I realized he was right. I was like, oh my God, like, I can't be an English major. And so I switched to being, I was like, all right, I got to put all my chips into acting. I can't pretend it anymore, right? I can't just be an English major who acts on the side. I have to learn acting. I have to like get into it. So when I transferred to UC Irvine, I switched my major. And fortunately, English and drama had enough like back and forth of like similar classes and credits needed. So I like, they're like, yeah, sure, you're fine. You can come in.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I studied drama for 2 years as a transfer student. And then by the time I came out, it was about, I moved out to LA 2013 after a little bit.
So how old were you then? 20 something?
22, 23.
Shit, still young, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had all this commercial training and I had like all these like technical things.
Were you confident?
Demos. Well, nah. So I got confident because of my training, but I didn't get confident being out in the field because I had no real experience. Like I had done stuff online. I had done, like small projects for friends. I had done like local commercials that they're like, oh, that's cute. You have a demo reel. Like, let me bring you in and you can do a radio ad for us. So I was like, yeah, sure. But by the time I like got to like LA, I didn't have a whole lot. And like, I was kind of nervous and, nothing was hiring. Like I couldn't find a way to do commercials unless I was doing it online for money that I had to pay. Which was absurd to me. And instead, I got into dubbing because dubbing was the only thing that was hiring. And fortunately, I got in with a studio called Bang Zoom. And, they're like, hey, take a class with us, see how well you do. And then I did. And they're like, you're pretty good at this. Like, we should send you auditions and get you on the roster and all that sort of stuff. So I got on the roster. And like 6 to 8 months later, I got my first audition from them and I booked it. And that was for Gargantia. And that was way back in 2013.
What was the feeling when you booked that?
Again, stupefied and what? Like, I have a story where, about this actually. So when Gargantia was coming out, there's another show called Blood Lad. And like Blood Lad had this vampire character. It was like humor based. It was comedic. It was dark and funny. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the character I want. And then Gargantia comes in and the auditions for Leto, who like is this generic looking anime character with a gun. And I was like, what a tryhard. And I made fun of him in my head, like while doing the audition. And then I booked him and I was like, okay. Well.
Oh yeah, right.
So yeah.
But he wasn't, he didn't end up as a tryhard, right?
He kind of did. I mean, but that's the thing is
that's the character.
When I played Leto and Gargantia, like what he was going through was basically symbolic of what I was going through. I felt like a fish out of water, right? Yep. I had all this technical training, but like I didn't know how to be human, and but I was woefully like underprepared for my journey into the acting world. But I did odd jobs. I got through it somehow. And I slowly started booking more roles after Gargantia. But
and then you took some time off, right?
Mm-hmm. In 2015, I had to step away from it all because I had a serious conversation with my family, and I realized like, oh, me being out here is like not helping the family at all. Like they're helping me, like they're supporting me. They're helping me like with my car payment. And like I came to a breaking point because I just wasn't making enough money at that time. It was like not enough time had passed for me to like build up the momentum. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the hard thing and leave for a little bit. So I did. I got a few more odd jobs and then eventually ended up working at Stanford as basically tech support for them.
Was that hard, man? Going away from something you love and doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely hard.
Yeah.
It broke my heart because I was like, I failed, like there was no other way around it. I didn't succeed into going back to, to Northern California. I had like failed to do what I wanted to do, but like I realized it's probably because I didn't have a plan, right? Other than tough it out, right? So whenever I meet new people and I meet them and they're like me, where they're just like, I'm going to do it and I'm just going to like climb this mountain. I'm empathetic and I'm sympathetic. And if they go through hard times and struggles, like, I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, Without my family or without my, like friends supporting me, I wouldn't have made it, and that's just the harsh reality of the business that, a lot of people don't make it.
Yeah.
Because they're on their own and whatnot. Because the reality is no one that I know who's made it didn't have an incredibly insane amount of help supporting them throughout this.
Financially is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything in every aspect, financially, emotionally, mental health wise.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're constantly getting rejected and.
Yeah. I mean, you learn small tactics here and there to help combat that, right? No pun intended. I got actually really good advice from Kyle A. Bear, who plays Ryu in Street Fighter. And
awesome.
He told me he told me to not think of it as rejection, but instead he reminded me that the audition was the job, not getting the gig.
Interesting.
That shift in mindset helped me shell myself from getting mentally battered but every time I didn't hear back, because it centralized to becoming more about the art than it did about getting the financial booking. Because the moment you think about I need this gig, you're betraying your training and you're thinking about real world problems instead of the character's problems, which you should be focused on. And when you realize that casting works in weird ways and it's very complex, you forgive it. You forgive yourself a little bit, because it's not because you were bad that you didn't book it. It's because someone else had something that they were looking for. I audition every day, and I, without a shadow of a doubt, know that I'm going up against hundreds of people, right, who are just as good, if not better, in terms of they've been here longer than me, right? Or they have more raw talent than me. I don't know. I mean, I try not to think about it, but
so does that make you work harder?
It makes me work smarter.
Smarter.
Yeah, and I mean that in the sense of I focus on what I have to for the character that I'm auditioning for, and then I send it off and I let it go. Because if I keep trying too much, it's a weird way of resisting the flow, so to say. And when you do that, that's when you sabotage yourself. So I think finding your being okay with where you are within all of this and finding that sort of element of zen, that helps you get through the darker and scarier moments of this career, aka not booking.
So going back to, so then you had the 2 years off, and then you came to a conclusion you can go back.
All went away. Well, my mom remarried, and as a result, I didn't have to worry about her. Literally, she met someone, and he's
so shout out to him.
Does well for him. Yeah, no, shout outs to Mike. Yeah, no. But when she married, she was able to retire, and literally it all went away. And I felt like that was the universe being okay, you've learned your lesson, go back out there and pursue again.
Nice.
And I did. And when I went back in 2017, I picked it right back up. And the first month that I was there, I booked something, and then just went from one thing to another. Yeah, no.
2017 doesn't feel that long ago. No. Does it feel long to you?
No, I still remember. Moments of 2017, and and what it felt like to be, starting over again. I feel like I haven't. I feel like I haven't left 2017. Sometimes.
Really?
I feel like the same person who was in 2017, just more tired. No, but I still remember what it was like in 2017, and I don't know if that'll ever leave. Because it was a fresh new start, and I knew I couldn't take anything for granted anymore.
So what if you told yourself then that you're going to book Mortal Kombat, a main character? What would he say?
I'd be oh, thank God it works out. Okay, so me putting faith into the universe worked. Oh, thank God. That's probably what he would say. Yeah, no, cause like from 2013, actually even before that, when I got into acting, like when I got into voiceover professionally, and up until like 2017, I had been studying not necessarily like not just how to act, but also like how to be an actor and why it's ritualistic. It's almost its own religion, right? Like being an actor is like an acolyte of the arts, and humanity, and like you realize that you have to surrender your thought of your belief of like I have power over anything. And when you surrender yourself to it, like it's like the universe flows through you and will give you what it needs to give you. And again, it sounds like super hokey, but I swear to God,
have
like,
you always felt like that though? What you're saying now, or is this something you've
no,
come to find recently?
no, I've come to I definitely adapted this as like after I got into the mindset of I'm gonna be a voice actor.
Right.
I was more of a go with the flow type of guy, but like I also was like, you know, sort of this manifest destiny type of like thinker, that like I'll do it my own way, I'll make it my own, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna carve out like a piece of history for myself. But like yeah, letting that part of your ego go kind of like is necessary when it comes to being in the arts. So
It's funny you say that, making it your own. I feel like you really did that with Mortal Kombat 1, man.
yeah, I mean, so
While
here's the
also
thing.
honoring, you know,
Right,
previous,
no,
not that you were trying to, but
right.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about that for a
Yeah,
second.
please.
So I got the audition, and first of all, like the audition, everything was in code names and everything was in like yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
was
had
all
no
just
idea.
coded. I had
Yeah.
no idea. But like like, and they give you like, my agent gave me like 5-6 characters to read through and be like, all right, pick 3 and like send them off. And like I was going through them, and one of them definitely stood out to me. And and I think it said something along the lines of he's deceptive. And like seeing the word deceptive like made everything click. Like it's like I like opened my, it's like I saw what this was.
Wow.
Cause yeah, I noticed that some of these things, some of the scripts had like a lot of K's in them. Weird. It's weird. Like it was like a lot of K's. There was like
That's a dead giveaway, isn't it?
there was like a K in something. It was talking about a martial
Yeah.
arts tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And deception. I was like, no. And I went through them, and sure enough, like I kind of figured out what the other characters were, but I was like, oh, I think I know what this is. And so like like I was a huge fan of the 1995 film. And like Mortal Kombat 11 had come out 2019, right? So
Yeah.
it hadn't been that long since
When was it? You was this 2020?
2020?
Yeah.
2020. I think late 2020 is when the audition went out. I don't remember. It might have been 2021. It all
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
yeah, it all blurs. But yeah, Mortal Kombat was, I think, one of the first video games that I booked actually, when I got into my agency. So up until 2019, I didn't have an agent. I was just freelancing. And that's what part of the reason why it was so hard. But I found someone who would champion me, and they would eventually, like it was a director who was like, "You're amazing. Like, are you looking for an agent?" And I'm like, "Of course." And they're like, "Why don't you have one?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Who do you
Wow, that's
want?"
awesome.
And yeah, no, absolutely. She was like, "Who do you want?" And I was like,
Who do you
"Really?
want?
I can ask her." And she's like, "Yeah, just tell me who you want, and then I'll walk you in." So I said her
That
name,
is
and that was my
crazy.
agent, and he's currently my agent, and he's been so for the last 3 years. He accepted me on the spot, and then he started sending me stuff off. So I booked like all the training and all the suffering and all that sort of stuff. It culminated to me booking, I think, Disney. Like I'm in a Disney show. I booked Mortal Kombat, and like I booked a Square Enix title all in like a year and a half.
Wow.
So I was getting my my back pay, so to speak. But
yeah.
no, but when I got Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, I think I know who this. I know who this is. And Cary Tagawa was already, you know, in MK11, and I was like, there's no beating that. He's the best. He's Shang Tsung, right? I grew up with the 1995 film, which was amazing. You know, I still watch it on occasion.
Wow.
But I think sort of like subconsciously, I started to do an impression of him way back when. And so like, you know, if you start doing something and it's 1995 and you go up to like 2020, that's like 15
It's a lot of
years.
practice.
That's a lot of practice. You know, and so like I was like, I think I can do this. So I did my audition, sent it off. I got the callback, and at the callback they're like, so we think you know who this is. And I was like, is it Shang Tsung? And they're like, yeah, this is Mortal Kombat. And I was like, because I'd done, you know, like enough detective work. And yeah, I was really proud of that. I was really proud of myself for like figuring out. And then, you know, like they're like, okay, we're gonna hire you. And that's when like the pressure rose, because I was like, okay, now that I got it, I gotta do something with it, right? And so I studied all the past Shang Tsungs up until where I was, like from like the guy who did the voice in MK1, like the original arcade release, to the PS2 game, to the PS2 era games, to, you know, like
You're just trying to find out who he is.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like and incorporate like a little bit of each into my performance. So MK9, and then MK11 obviously. So yeah, and then I was like, okay, cool. So we were just talking about like how to make it mine. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna make it mine and all that sort of stuff. I realized through my journey that you're always gonna make it yours. That's like a no brainer. Like I mean, it's you. You're gonna make it yours, right? You don't have to push for that or pursue that. It's just gonna happen. So save that brain space for something else.
Interesting.
So yeah.
And so how do you craft the voice? Was it working with the director? Was it
So in the audition, they didn't mention any past characters or like any past actors. They didn't give a reference, is what I'm trying to say. So there was no mention of Cary. But I was like, what if I did a Cary Tagawa impression? And so I did it, and like they're like, oh, this is exactly what we want. Thank you. Because they weren't trying to like put that pressure on. I don't think, to the best of my knowledge, they weren't trying to pressure actors into doing a Cary Tagawa impression, right? Because then you take away agency from the actor, right? Like of creating their own character. But you know, like good artists borrow, great artists steal, right? What if I just took what I know and I just made it mine? And I think the major thing for me was the inflection, right? Like, because Shang Tsung, like the thing that catches your attention with Shang Tsung is the way he speaks. And like, yes, he has this like physical presence that's like amazing on screen. But when he goes, your soul is mine, right? Like, you're like, ooh, the way that he like strummed that, like, that's amazing.
I notice when you do the voice,
Right.
your body, you change a little bit, the way your body and the way you move, just when you did that before.
Yeah.
Is that something that just naturally you just did?
Well, I mean, like I have and I'm doing again.
Yeah, I know you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think about that, right? Like how does the character hold himself? How does he like? What does he value? And like, like how do you place all of that in the body? Because whatever you do to the body, like the voice, it'll come out through the voice.
Yeah.
Right. So I think about what my character does physically before I figure out what I'm going to do about the voice. Usually the voice doesn't. Yeah. Usually the voice is the last thing I think about.
Wow.
Because it'll come out however it wants to come out. Because you don't want to chase a sound. You want to chase the acting.
Yeah. And I love the way he moves in the game too.
Right.
Just you've seen it.
Right.
Bit of elegance, charm, you know.
I might have done something like this during the
really
because they saw me on camera like some of the times when my camera wasn't being a Broken piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
but I think they saw. Who knows? I don't know if they saw me and they're like, "We're gonna put that in," or they were like, "Yeah, he would walk this way," and it just happened to be, it was happenstance.
So how do you feel now when these are some of the comments? Damn, Alan Lee did an amazingly excellent job. Your performance was intimidating but vulnerable. You can really tell some moments that he's really pinned down and not always has a snarky comeback, clever plan out.
Right.
Or the voice actor really put on a masterpiece of performance. Yeah, and these this just keeps going and going, these
Yeah.
comments. How does that feel now after all that you've just said to read that feedback?
Part of my brain goes, "Oh yeah, like of course, naturally." No, but like the other part of my brain's like, "Wow, that's a lot of praise," and it's humbling, right? You feel like you've put in 100% all the way through for X amount of time, and then finally people see it, right? Because a lot of projects that I do, and I'm not saying they're like lesser or anything like that, but they
No.
definitely have not had this many eyes on it.
Yeah.
And to have people say that it's validating, I guess, but like it's very humbling. Because like they're talking about something that they perceived, and you as the actor are like, I didn't do that much, but like, thank you. No, but I think I've learned that we should take the compliments and we should take it with grace, right? And if that's how they perceive it, don't fight them on it, right? Thank you. You're welcome. Like thank you for complimenting it and calling it a masterpiece, right? That's the appropriate response.
And what was it like doing those intros? Because you really get to shine in some of those, where the characters come close up and clash, and I can't imagine the ones that are going to come out for like Homelander and all that. That's going to be, can't wait for that. But yeah, what was that like?
Clashes were really fun because we got to do like 2-3 takes of each and play around with it and be like, oh, depend if he says it this way, then how does that make me feel as the character? And I can say it this way, or perhaps this way, or or maybe I can add something that just adds a touch of like flair.
Oh, dude, can you conduct this interview in that voice? It's so good.
Yes, I can.
Oh no, sorry.
Mr. Allen.
Yeah. Oh man, so good. Yeah, no, they must have been fun. Hey, did you get to improvise at all, or you sort of just play around with the word, like the delivery?
Yeah. No, I mean, like I improv. I more like messed up some of the lines. Like, no, we like that writing more. We're gonna, like I flipped a few words here and there, but
yeah.
Honestly, I wish I improvised even more. But I'm like, okay, Alan, hold back. Like, whoa there. This is your first time doing Shang Tsung for them. Let's try and do well enough where you keep the job, right? And then show them, hey, I got some ideas of my own.
Yeah.
So I was a little less brave when it came to improvising this time around, but we'll see if there is, we'll see if.
Well, that must be exciting, man, knowing that this is a reboot, and by all accounts, there probably will be another game after this, a sequel, and so that must be exciting that you've grounded yourself in this new universe in many respects.
Right. I also know, I mean, yes, you're right that like the potential's there, but I also know that I don't own the character, right? Like that's NRS and WB. I don't own any of the characters that I play, right? It's like, oh, I can play Hamlet, for example, but some other guy can play Hamlet because that production chose that other guy for Hamlet, right? And so in that sense, I know that it's a privilege to play a character, but like if they were to go a different direction, I can't take that personally, right?
So you're kind of borrowing the Ferrari, and you have to give it back at some point.
Well, I mean, I guess, but like it's like it was never mine to begin with, I got to write it, and I got to drive. I got to be behind the wheel, and the pleasure was mine. But
Yeah.
if they decide to keep me, awesome. But if they don't, like, I respect it, because
Yeah.
like I said, we don't own our characters. We get the privilege to play them, and we
Yeah.
try to make it ours, right? In the sense of like, oh yeah, this is my take, and yeah, so if it goes in a direction and they want me back, cool. I'm super happy to do that. But if they don't, it's okay. I'm still gonna get my butt kicked by everyone online.
So you've seen your work? You've seen the cutscenes?
I have. I watched a few. I have a few friends who stream, and I was
nice.
in their stream supporting them, and they were supporting me back by playing the game. And I was like, hey, and they're like, oh my god, guys, like Alan Lee, the voice of Shang Tsung is here, and people are like, I don't believe you, or like they're like, show some proof, or they're like, whoa, that's so cool, you did great. And so I've watched the story mode like at least a couple times now, all the way through.
And how did you find the final delivery of the story? And also, did any scenes stick out to you that you were in that you're like, wow, I love that?
No, I was just excited every time I showed up. I was like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
No, it's weird. Because there's a part of your brain that kind of goes, oh, that's me. Ugh, right? Like it's because watching your own work, yeah, it's so weird. And I think it's fun. I was really happy with how it came out, and yep, that sounded good. I'm glad they went with that take. But yeah, no, so of the actual story mode, I really liked whenever Reptile showed up. Actually, Reptile was my main growing up, because he was just like the cool ninja to me. But like, they made everyone in this in this story like so well fleshed out and like thought out.
I know.
And Reptile's like whole thing about like he's been enslaved, and he's this tragic character now instead of this weird lizard man, jobber. I think was super refreshing.
Such a good glow up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they gave him a human form to like morph between was just sheer brilliance.
I spoke to Andrew, who does the voice. Yeah, he was fantastic. He really, it was a different sort of take to the character, but they really fleshed it out, didn't they?
Talk about voice like chocolate, man. Like everyone compliments me, and I'm like, no. It's like there's so many people that sound so good.
Matt as Liu Kang. God, he was good too.
Oh yeah, no, Matt like I was like, oh my god, like how did? Because I thought like when they rebooted and had MK9 like with Tom Choi,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant. This is perfect. This is exactly what I thought Liu Kang to be. And then Matt comes in, and like you're like, oh my gosh, that's also really good. That's Liu Kang. You can't help but feel like that. So, or like, oh, who do you like more? And I'm like, dude, the NRS casting is phenomenal. I'd say all across the board.
Oh man, who would you say your favorite character is besides
Shang Tsung?
Yeah,
outside of Shang Tsung.
Yeah, outside of Shang. Yeah.
So like throughout, so as a fan of MK, like my favorite has always been Reptile and Kung Lao. Like Kung Lao in the original trilogy.
Kung Lao, man.
Dude.
Oh,
they made him so cool. Like they made him so cool as like the cool counterpart to like Liu Kang, who was like, like good, wholesome and all that sort of stuff. Kung Lao comes in and like slices off your head and just badass. He's like the more serious Shaolin warrior. And then they made him a dork for a little bit, which is fine. And they kind of still add that like, oh yeah, he's the cocky one, and he's sort of the more fun-loving one.
He's a little bit cocky, a little bit fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the evolution of his personality throughout the iterations. But yeah, no, I'd still say Kung Lao is like, every time I like, am on the select screen and I'm like, who do I want to play? I'm like, oh yeah, I want to play Kung Lao.
So how did you find doing different versions of the like how we're in a multiverse now in this? What was that like for you?
I don't remember.
I know it was a while ago.
I remember my director telling me, oh yeah, we're gonna have you do multiple different ways of all these Shang Tsungs popping out. And I was like, do you want me to do anything different? He's like, nah, not really.
Yeah.
Because at the core, they're still
They're still the same
character.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, and I was like, okay, like let me try something. And like I was like, all right, what's in my head? I was thinking, what's like different reasons for him to be devious or like mischievous and a bastard and these things, whatever I did, whatever, and then they chose whatever, right? I did like 20 takes, and they chose whatever to fill in with for that last sequence.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like I didn't get to see anything because none of it was fleshed out, but like I'm glad they chose what they chose. And some of the names of these like weird mixed characters are hilarious. Did you see Stung Lao? Like that one sent me. That one actually sent me. Could not.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
So this game's so good, and the graphical quality, man. I couldn't believe the difference between the last game and this. The last game looked fantastic, and then I compare it and I go, "Geez, that's a step up for only 3 or 4 years."
Right.
Man.
Right. Like I liked how MK11 looked, except the fact that I think everyone looked slightly rounder in the face, and like that weirded me out.
Not as realistic as this one. Yeah.
Right. No, but like MK11 still looks good. Like it looks.
Oh yeah.
It looks amazing. But I think our MK also looks really good. I think there are some artistic choices that like I prefer from like the older games compared to this one, but like, I can't knock it because it also looks really good. So it's just a preference thing, right?
Yeah, I'm playing on PS5. I know, the Switch and that. There's other versions, but the PS5, man, that looks fantastic. So,
yeah,
are you gonna do some streams, man? I feel like you'd be great at that. I know you're busy, but
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah,
I've been
what's
thinking
stopping
about
you?
it. I just I have a weird mentality thing where I promised myself when I got into this that I wouldn't rely on anything
other than the work,
other than acting. Like,
I get it,
and like that was like my drive to get to where I am right now. But that being said, right, and like I mean, I said the same thing about conventions. There's the reason why I don't go out to conventions. The reason why I don't. I wasn't at least not until recent. I wasn't active on social media because I like my life private.
Yep.
And I just thought sharing that stuff would compromise that because I'm here to do the work and get out and then live my life. But I've had a lot of conversations with friends and loved ones about this, and they're like, "Dude, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta go to cons. You gotta like go do what you can to like engage with the fans, because like that might be the thing that helps you stay stable so that you can continue acting, on the longer term, in the long run." And I think I've had a change of heart because I realized like, oh, nowadays it matters, right? Like it counts if you stream as an actor or promote yourself on social media or TikTok or YouTube, and then go out to conventions and meet people face to face. So I plan on doing that. I'm new to it. I hope to do it more often down the line, but I've been thinking about it, including streaming, going back to that. I guess it's just like, I guess I'm the only thing holding myself back, right? At this point. Because I have like a capture card. I have, I have my PC. I don't know. Maybe I should do it like soon too, especially since MK is like right now on fire.
Yeah, well, it's hot. Yeah. Although, I don't know when the DLCs it'll keep. This is the thing with this game; it always has a resurgence with the DLCs. They're very smart with their marketing. It never really, it never ends. There's always hype for this game. By the time the hype dies down, there'll be the new one will be revealed.
Yeah, I know nothing about anything other than the base game. If I'm being super honest, like I'm like, I was like, oh yeah, they have. Isn't this game supposed to get DLC? I honestly don't know.
But it's exciting, man. Come on.
It's super exciting, yeah.
The ones that they've announced, I can't wait to play as Homelander and Peacemaker. Oh,
dude, I can't wait to try out Omni-Man.
Omni-Man. Yeah.
Omni-Man looks like, oh man, like he looks good. Like he's from a cartoon and like graphic novel or whatever, right? And then to put him in the universe and make him look cohesive with everyone else, that's amazing. You know? So I look forward to Omni-Man. I look forward to everyone.
Oh, definitely.
I'm curious about Takeda. Because
what do you mean curious?
Like how he's gonna play. What's his story? Like why he looks the way he looks? Because he doesn't look young, or like at least that's what they've led us to believe that like this he looks older and like a little more grayed, and I'm just like, what's going on there?
Yeah. No, I'm interested. And they even said today that John Wick, they were trying to get John Wick, but it fell
I
through.
heard about that, yeah.
That would have been cool. There's so many that.
Cool. Did you have any like did you have any characters that you're like, oh man, if they made like a combo pack, like
what about One Punch Man?
Suggestions. One Punch Man. I'm in that show.
I know. That's why I said it. You're in that, but imagine that One Punch, and that'd be an easy way to win.
I don't think it'd be Saitama that they put in though. I could see like Garo, right? Garo from One Punch Man, or like Genos.
Oh, yeah. But you can't really do. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's endless possibilities, man, isn't there?
I want to see.
They did a Xenomorph, for God's sake.
They did. I feel like I'm like trying to. I feel like I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel for this, but I'm just like, you know who I'd really like to see?
Yeah.
Is like how they put John Cena's Peacemaker in there. I always thought, and like this is like even before like MKX, like when I was like, when they had the the guest characters in MK9, I was like, man, they should put the Undertaker or like like some other wrestler as like a real grappler in there with like their lore intact.
That would be sick.
Or like if they brought The Rock, but it's the Scorpion King.
Stone Cold Man, Steve Austin.
Right, yeah. Yo, can you imagine that? Yeah,
that'd be sick.
A bunch of wrestlers to be in Mortal Kombat, like to smack down on John Cena.
And it would work. It would work. I feel like it's probably a WWE rights thing, isn't it? Right. They want to retain their IP, but then again, I mean, they got Peacemaker from DC and that, so it's it just depends. I wish they did a wrestling game that like MK, as you said.
Yeah, I wish NRS. I wish a lot of things for a lot of companies that I work with, and I'm just like, that'd be so cool. But like, there's no way to communicate that because
I know
you're there to do the job, right? I want to tell NRS like, man, make like, I don't know, just have a bunch of superheroes clashing. Not necessarily Injustice, but like I think Ed Boon like had put out like, do you want to see like a Marvel versus DC? And I'm like, that'd be amazing.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Injustice, I don't know if you played Injustice. That was one of my favorite.
I played a little
I really enjoyed that from them back in 2013.
How was 2? Yeah. I saw they put Ninja Turtles and I flipped out and I was like, oh my God, I have to get this. And I totally didn't get it.
Yeah, they put the Turtles. Shit. That was cool.
And they were all variations of like the same character. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. Like, I love that stuff. Like that stuff is like super, super like, oh man, Fantasyland, sort of like this is pulled from my dream type of thing.
So you're a gamer? You're a bit of a gamer or what?
I'd say so. I'd consider myself a gamer. So
yeah. Well, how many hours a week are we talking?
An embarrassing amount.
Okay.
So like I go through my acting stuff, I go through my work, and then I make the joke with my friends that like when we play a game, I'm doing research.
That's what I do.
Like, because you have to keep relevant. You have to get ahead of the curve by like seeing what's coming out and what performances there are and all that sort of stuff. So I play games under the guise of like research.
Yeah.
No, I play. I don't know.
What do you play on? PC, PlayStation?
I play PC and with a group of friends, my Switch. So my Switch gets some love. I'm playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I heard it was good.
It's good. It's fantastic. I loved Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
The video game when that came out. That was a janky
fun time.
It was fun. It was so good, right? And like you learn strats and you mess with Jason, and it's awesome. I'm so
Is that
sad
the,
that game
is that
going
the same?
away.
Sorry to cut you off. Is that just a reskin now, or is it have they
No,
developed it a lot?
no, they've Gunn definitely looked at all the feedback from Friday the 13th, and they're like, all right, we're gonna make a new game, but like have similar elements to that. So they have like the whole fixing of the like I feel like they addressed a lot of the issues with Friday the 13th into Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like they added multiple killers now, so it's not just one uber insane Jason player. So it's a lot more balanced, but there's also like like you'll find the rummaging of stuff and like fixing of stuff to get out. That stuff's still intact. Hiding spots, like actual hiding spots in the bush.
Do you still
Yeah,
get
I'd say
people
it's still
quitting
good.
if they're not? You know how people would quit the game if they weren't Jason?
Oh yeah, no, but you get to choose your side. That's the thing, is that like you get to choose your
Oh,
side of
okay,
like, are
okay.
you the family or are you like the victims? And you again, like if you're dead, you're dead, so you can leave. But like if you play with a party, you kind of have to stay around. So yeah, and I think if obviously they're going to be rage quitters in that game. They're going to be people who are super toxic, but I think overall Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a really fun game.
Oh,
It just sucks that it's not crossplay right now at the moment because they're PC cheaters, and so they're like, all right, we gotta separate everyone. So I'm waiting for the crossplay to be enabled again so I can play with my girlfriend. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, hopefully they do that. So what else have you played this year? Anything you could recommend?
Armored Core 6 is super good.
Oh, you played that? Yeah. That's a tough
I've been playing
game.
Armored Core since Armored Core 2 on PS2.
Oh, wow.
So like going back and I skipped a few. So like it was like Armored Core 2 and then I did 5 and then I did 6, and going back to 6, like it's good.
Soundtrack's banging.
It yeah, and it like really, really scratches that. God, I wish this was a Gundam itch. You know what I mean? Like you wish it was like cool mechs and stuff like that. So that scratched that. God, what else have I been playing? Apex. I've been playing Apex with a few friends. They're trying to get me into FIFA. I'm
Really?
not a football / soccer guy. I wish I was because it seems fun, but I'm trying. What
Yeah.
else? Hunt Showdown. I play that on occasion.
I've heard really good. I haven't played that, but I've heard very good things. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully given up League of Legends.
Oh, so you were a League guy?
I
Yeah.
don't no, I wouldn't even call it that. I'd say I tried to play play with some friends, and I've never been good at MOBAs. The only MOBA that I'm okay at is Pokemon Unite on the Switch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's like League watered down, but like just enough for me to enjoy it. So yeah. And what else?
So which one out of all those, which one's got the most time played?
Probably
Apex.
Yeah, probably Apex. Because Texas hasn't been out long enough for me to really get into it. I play Unite on occasion with friends, so that definitely has a lot of hours. Trying to think, what else do I play? I like get a bunch of games. I'm waiting for Party Animals to come out.
Party Animals, is that is that a sequel to that other game? Am I thinking of the right one or not?
I have no clue.
Party Animals
so
is the multiplayer physics. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like
from Gang Beast.
Like,
did you play Gang Beast?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I just saw people streaming Party Animals and thought it was hilarious, and I was like, okay, I have to play this game.
Oh yeah, that looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gang Beast was so fun. I remember that years ago. Thank you for taking the time, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I hope I gave like a cohesive story.
No. Speaking of stories, I kind of want everyone to hear the Matt Mercer story. That is a fantastic story, how you met him.
Yeah. So Matt Mercer, while he was still doing anime and like stuff with Bang Zoom, like he was like finding his stride over there in about 2013, 2014. And then, he was like JoJo and all this other stuff. But he played my robot companion in Gargantia. And then soon afterwards, there was another JRPG that had him as my robot again. And the sequel to that had him return for to be the robot of to be my robot companion again. So 3 times in a row, Matt's been my robot. And now
was he big back then? I'm trying to remember. He was pretty big back then.
He was. Yeah, no, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think at least in the anime sphere, he was like, it was like, oh my God, Matt Mercer, he's everywhere.
He was in Resident Evil, and yeah.
I think like after the thing that I did with him, which is Gargantia, he was like in a bunch of random anime, and then popped off with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah.
And then Crit Roll happened, and then I never saw him again. So, which is
no one saw him again.
So the way that Matt and I met was I was at my pizza job. And it's like one of those things where it's like you go down an assembly line and they make a pizza for you and all that sort of stuff. And I look up and I'm like, oh my God, that's Matt Mercer? What? Like, so I make his pizza and like, I'm like, hey, like I get him a discount and everything. Hey, Matt, like, and he's like, oh yeah, hi. And I'm like, I think you're my robot. And he's like, Alan? And I'm like, hey. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's so glad I'm so happy to meet you. You're a great actor. And I'm like, you're killing it. Yeah. So like, so that's the first time I meet him, and he comes by on occasion to that pizza place, like with like his book of like whatever he's writing and PJs, because why not? And he would go and I'd give him a discount every time. But I quit that job, and like a few years later, I had a friend from said job reach out and be like, hey, let's go back to our old pizza place and like tell me about acting, because I'm thinking about getting into it. And I did, and we were reminiscing, and I was like, man, it was like right over there that I met Matt Mercer, and then like I turn and Matt's right there ordering pizza. And I'm like, Matt.
Oh man, that's crazy.
He turns around, he's like, Alan? And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, I just wanted pizza.
Pizza connects us all, man.
Yeah,
that's the moral of the story.
Right? It's
man,
it's
I
the
want
food
pizza
of the
now.
world. Yeah. I know, right? Shoot, I might order one.
Yeah, I think I might tonight. Yeah. Couple more before I let you go. What would you say your favorite line? Because everyone's going to ask favorite line from Shang Tsung or favorites
that Shang Tsung has done.
Yeah.
Or that I have done.
That you did, yeah.
I really like. I mean, like, and this is going to be a little disappointing to people. I can already tell, because I'm just
no.
If it's revenge you want, have at it. If it's restitution, there's nothing left.
And like, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I felt that. But like,
that's cool.
I don't know if I recorded this line, because like it's my favorite as a character Shang Tsung line, which is,
your soul is mine.
And I'm like, did I ever record that for the game? I actually don't know.
I don't think I've heard it. Yeah. Maybe.
So, like,
someone will tell us in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Like, I honestly, like, I'm not looking out for these things when I'm recording, but like looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I remembered.
Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, if people are curious, because Cary does it 2 different ways, right? This is how much I know the character is.
Wow.
Well, so like there's 3 iterations. There's your soul is mine, right? Like where the MK11 one, and then he goes in 1995 film, he goes, your soul is mine.
Yeah, but more drawn out.
Like yeah. Your soul is mine. And then my version, if it was in the game, would be like, your soul is mine.
A bit of both, but your own flavor.
Yeah. You gotta make it your own. So
yeah.
Right.
Do you want to say anything to the fans, man?
Your soul is mine. No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, thank you for showing the game and the character and me a lot of love. I am just humbled by like how many people reached out and congratulated me and told me I did an amazing job. And I don't know. I'm still, like I'm still processing.
Still in the honeymoon
that.
phase. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully if I go out to conventions, like I can see you guys and we can hang out.
We've got to get you down to Australia, man.
I'd love to, although you have like tennis racket sized spiders, I hear. So I don't know about that.
Snakes, spiders, sharks. Yeah. What don't we have, man? Kangaroos even will get you.
Yeah, and they'll punch you, right?
They'll punch you,
Yeah.
They'll fuck you up.
Yeah. They should put a kangaroo in Mortal Kombat.
Well, they did that in Tekken. They can't.
Did that in Tekken. You're right. Roger or something like that.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, they can't quite. That might be considered copying. Oh, maybe not.
Who knows?
They can do a wallaby.
Ryu, Ryo, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're old school, Ryu.
So we can find you on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere else, man?
Yeah, Twitter.
You got TikTok?
Alan Lee VO. No, not yet. I just don't know what to do with it yet, if I'm going to be honest.
If you did that voice, you'd probably get 100K followers in a day.
Maybe. Who knows? I might have to make like smug, sassy Shang Tsung.
Just reply back to people's comments with the voice, doing something snarky or yeah.
I had a friend. Oh my god, I had a friend who told me you weirdly sound like a smarmy Matt Berry, and I'm like, what? Like,
really?
Yes. Just. But jokes aside, though, I'll think about it. I really just have to put in the legwork, but
you do need time for all this,
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. Thank you, man. So we'll follow you there. And before I let you go, is there anything we can get him to say one more time to Dan?
Dan, your soul is mine.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man.
Right. Oh, and for like, if a preview, like, it's like,
and now a taste of things to come.
So good. Thank you,
appreciate it.
We really appreciate your time, brother.